Hello, Bit Odashi here. Welcome to another episode on the Success Roadmap. And today's topic is be cautious. And I'm taking my reading from Genesis 13 1 to 13. And the other verses I'll be referencing would be Genesis 14 1 to 16 and 19. But I'm not going to read that. So I'm just going to start by reading the Genesis 13 1 to 13. And it goes. And Abraham went up out of Egypt, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lord with him into the south. And Abraham was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. And he went on his journeys from the south even to Bethel, unto the place where his tent had been at the beginning between Bethel and Hai, unto the place of the altar which he had made there at first. And there Abraham called on the name of God. And Lot also, which went with Abraham, had flock and herd and tent. And the land was not able to bear them, that they may dwell together, for their substances were great, so they could not dwell together. And there was a strife between the headsmen of Abraham's cattle and the headsmen of Lot's cattle, and the Canaanite and the Perizzite dwelt there in the land. And Abraham said unto Lot, Let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, and between my headmen and your headmen, for we be brethren. Eat not the whole land before thee. Separate thyself, I pray thee, from me. If thou wilt take the left, then I would go right, or if thou depart to the right, then I will take the left. And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld the plain of Jordan, and it was well watered everywhere before the Lord. It was well watered everywhere before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest unto Zoar. Then Lot shewed him all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves the one from the other. And Abraham dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelt in the plain and pitched his tent towards Gomorrah. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before God exceeding. So why did I choose be cautious today? The main verse would be Genesis 13:11. Then Lord chose him all the plains of Jordan, and Lord journeyed east, and they separated themselves the one from the other. So think about it. What you would consider as a log of wood can become a potentially beautiful carving. What would be considered as stone, when tried in the fire, it can become gold. And taking decisions without critically looking at the issue at hand in order to take decision is very detrimental, because as we go on, it was clearly noted there that the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners, and the land was beautiful, and that was what Lot saw at first, and that was why he made the decision to actually go into that land, to choose that land, even though I would believe there was prior knowledge to the fact that the land had evil men. So you could see that the Greenland then became a wasteland, because if you go down to chapter 19 and even before that, Lot was or Lot had an issue. He was captured and Abraham had to rescue him. That was in chapter 14. And then when you go on to chapter 19, that was when God had to send an angel. And it sent two angels actually to go into the land to save Lot. And Lot took them in, and the men of the land wanted him to bring them out so that they could sleep with him. And they brought the message about how, they had come to save Lot, because obviously Abraham, his cousin, was very gracious enough to ask God to have mercy, and asked, "Oh, what if there were just 10 good men? What would they were if there were just 10 good men in the land? Would the land be saved?" And that being said, it's very important that you investigate before you invest, and take, for instance, any opportunity that comes your way. Take, for instance, crypto. Like, if you're going to take part in anything, I would believe you should have a bit more knowledge, and the knowledge should be all around. It shouldn't be just the good, because people would always tell you, "Oh, this is what we did and this was what happened." But what were the challenges you faced? What went wrong? What could actually go wrong? So looking at all those things would help you to make good decisions, because at the end of the day, look at someone like Lord. He entered into Sodom and Gomorrah a wealthy man, or he around that side. He was a wealthy man, but he came out of that land with nothing because the fire of God destroyed everything. He had just his two daughters, and he lost his wife too in the process because she turned back and she turned to a pillar of salt. So it's very, very important that you investigate things before you make an investment into it. So I would have an example. For instance, in business now, if you have a business and the business offers a super unrealistic like percentage back, oh, invest your money, you will get this, and you haven't looked into it. People are just very fast most times, or we are all, because I fall into that category too sometimes, that we just jump into things, or we just jump into doing things without actually taking a step back and saying, okay, if I'm going to do this, what happens if it fails, and what happens if I win? So it's very crucial, because if Lot would have had that spiral of knowledge, maybe he would have picked a different land. But what he saw was what he saw was what drew him, because the plain was beautiful. The land was like, it was even equated to like the Garden of God, which is like maybe the Garden of Eden. So you could imagine. So you cannot succeed just by taking decision because something looks juicy or appealing. So you have to learn to look before you leap. And that is where the topic for today comes in. You have to be cautious. Investigate a thing before deciding to go on or without it. And that is one success roadmap that if you should learn, it's going to help in your journey. And I, for instance, now I would give an example with, there was a period of time when someone would tell me, oh, let's do this business. And I'd ask myself, am I really interested in this first? And if I were interested, is this a good person? What skill do I have? What skill does he have to be able to augment what we are going to do? And I found out that, okay, if we do that and we don't have those things ironed out, then we might just start something, invest so much in it, and end up getting nothing. So in so doing, I'll decide maybe otherwise I won't do it. Or maybe if we do it the other way, if we have people that are competent, or I'm doing with someone that already knows his onions, then it's easier for me to make that decision to actually do it. So it's very, very, very important that we all know that some things are just trap and they might look very good. Forget it. 10, 20 people might tell you it's good, but it's God telling you it's good. It's God telling you to go ahead with it. It's God telling you, okay, you can do this. This is for you. You have to listen for the voice of God, and you have to listen to your spirit man, because I believe that God speaks to you in thoughts. So if you have tribulations, not all tribulations, to be clear, are like God telling you things. Sometimes that's the devil. Devil is trying to like tell you things so as for you not to take action. But there are tribulations that if you just stay a bit, investigate it, you'll be able to actually know that this is not what God really wants from me. And when you decide not to, it would come with so much peace. Like, not peace in the sense that, oh, you could actually, but your mind would be at rest that, okay, I didn't do this, oh, I'm not interested in this. And so doing, you can be able to turn your mind towards something else, and turn yourself towards something else that, God really wants you to do. So that is one major success roadmap that I would also have to put into practice. Even the job, even your, let's say your partners, anything that you really want to do, you have to be cautious. Then you have to investigate. Being cautious is stopping yourself at your track and asking yourself some very important questions before you go ahead. So that's episode 3 of the success roadmap. I hope you learned a thing or two. Drop into the comment what you think about being cautious, and maybe there's a thing or two that I didn't pick from this very story. And if you did, you could also drop that in the comment. I want to learn more about what God is saying in Genesis 13. Do well to like, to share, to subscribe to this video. It helps me, encourages me to do more of this video, and I'm going to see you in the next episode.